Mr. Howard, for a gun to fire, something has to pull the trigger. They just don't go off.
And that's what I'm saying. When I was putting the gun in my pocket, it hit the trigger and the trigger went off. I thought I had the gun on safety. I never even had the clip in the gun. I didn't even know it was one in the head. The gun went off and went through my calf muscle and came out the bottom of my ankle.
But once again, I want you to think real hard, Mr. Howard. You put your gun in your cargo packet, your finger was on that trigger. Because it takes a few pounds of pressure to pull a trigger. I'm just teaching you some gun safety, Mr. Howard. This world has gone gun crazy, and now you've done shot yourself in the leg.
In Judge Manning's court, the plaintiff is seeking a TPO against her ex-boyfriend after he shoots himself in the leg. In this case, Judge has a few choice words for the defendant. Let's see what the judge has to say.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
All right, if y'all both raise your right hand for me. Mr. Howard, you too. Do you swear prior to testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so Ms. Brown, I forgot to ask that. You still want to go forward, am I correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, can you start from the most recent event and work backwards for me and tell me why you sought this TPO against Ms.
Yes, so police report from January 14th, where we got into an argument and he ended up pulling a gun out to threaten me and ended up shooting himself, and he ended up getting arrested.
Shot himself? Where did he shoot himself?
In the leg.
Did he mean to shoot you and shot himself?
No, I don't know if he didn't point it at me. He had it down to intimidate me. That's what he said in the actual, he said that he took it out to intimidate.
Trigger and it shot himself in the leg.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So we've had incidents before, but I've never called the police. Nobody else has been there, so I can't have anybody as a witness. So this is pretty much the main incident that I have as proof that I need a protective order against him because he's unstable mentally. We're not married. It says that we're married in the police report, but we're not. I was allowing him to stay here because I found out that he was sleeping in a rental vehicle in someone's driveway and it was getting cold. So I told him he could come here and stay in the room with his son because we have a son together. And he was staying there, and it just got to be where I was like, I need you to go. And we got into it. He said that I was sleeping with someone else, and I told him that it was irrelevant because we were not in a relationship. We haven't been in a relationship for a while, where I consider him to be my family because we have a child together. So it turned into him saying that I was sleeping with somebody, and I'm telling him that I'm not, but it's irrelevant. He ended up mushing me in my face that day. He threatened to kill me and everybody in the house. When we got to the door, that's when my brother came in because he heard us arguing, and that's when he picked up the gun. And my brother stepped in between the two of us, and he threatened to air it out. He'll basically saying he'll kill everybody in the house.
And this says he's pulled a gun. Your petition says he's pulled a gun on you at least 3 other times.
Absolutely.
Mr. Howard, thank you for being quiet and letting Ms. Graham talk. And I shall be quiet and let you talk. Go ahead and respond. Mr. Howard.
How you doing this morning, man? Okay, first I want to start by saying there's a few discrepancies in this police report. First off, the police never spoke. They never took a statement from me. The second thing was I was putting the gun inside of my pocket and the gun discharged. That's how I shot myself in the leg. There was never no threat about me killing her or everybody in the house, because the one thing I would never do is I would never threaten to kill my own children. So that's automatically fictitious. That didn't ever happen. Now, we did have an argument. We have a dispute in the room, and I did question her, which I have all this stuff on file, but she was reaching out to somebody else after texting me and telling me that she didn't want to be with nobody else and blah, blah, blah. It was just frivolous. And like I told the court, the attorney that I had, the public defender, I had just got into an accident. You know what I'm saying? I've been dealing with a little bit of PTSD. So yeah, I haven't been all the way right, but I would never threaten my family's life. And I never pulled no gun out with the intent on trying to shoot anybody. I was putting the gun in my pocket and the gun discharged.
Well, let me just get, so why did you have it out of your pocket?
I had just got finished driving her car. I had the gun in the car. I got out the car because she was finna get ready to leave. So I brought the gun in the house and I set the gun on the table. At the point when me and her got into an argument, I got on the phone and I called a friend and told him to come get me, that I would meet them up the street. So I was putting the gun back in my pocket. I had cargo pants on. I was putting the gun back in my pocket and the gun discharged. If you look at where the gun discharged, it looks exactly like I was putting the gun in my pocket and it discharged. I got shot in the back of the calf muscle and it came out through my ankle.
But Ms. Howard,
So I never waved the gun at nobody. I never pointed the gun. I never threatened anybody's life.
but you put the gun in your cargo pocket with your finger on the trigger.
So he actually,
Hold on,
No, I didn't. I never had my finger on the.
Mr. Howard, come on now. Something pulls the trigger. Guns just don't go off. I was a
I
cop.
put the gun in my pocket.
and you have to cock
I
it.
had the gun in my pocket. It was not on safety. Oh my God.
I mean,
the gun was not on safety. I had the gun. I was putting the gun in my pocket.
Mr. Howard,
No,
I also
Ms. Graham,
the gun went off when I put it in my pocket.
Ms. Graham, hold on. Mr. Howard, for a gun to fire, something has to pull the trigger. They just don't go off.
And that's what I'm saying. When I was putting the gun in my pocket, it hit the trigger and the trigger went off. I thought I had the gun on safety. I never even had the clip in the gun. I didn't even know it was one in the head. The gun went off and went through my calf muscle and came out the bottom of my ankle.
And once
It was me
again,
trying to shove the gun.
I want you to think
leave
real
out the house.
I want you to think real hard, Mr. Howard. You put your gun in your cargo pocket, your finger was on that trigger. Because it takes a few pounds of pressure to pull a trigger. I'm just teaching you some gun safety, Mr. Howard. This world is going gun crazy, and now you've done shot yourself in the leg.
Clearly, I didn't have gun safety.
That's just
Clearly, I didn't have gun safety that day. But my intent was not to shoot anybody or threaten anybody with no gun. If I was putting the gun in my pocket.
What else, Ms. Graham?
So the police report states that he grabbed the gun after the dispute escalated to intimidate Ms. Graham over the incident. Mr. Howard stated that he grabbed the gun went off, striking him in the right leg. Now, I have two witnesses that were here that day. My brother, Robert Perkins, Wilcox, who lives here. They can also testify that he did take it out and threatened to air it out. And it also stated in here that he was very intoxicated. He said they asked him how many drinks he had. I don't even think he remembers, honestly, everything that happened that day, because we had a conversation earlier that day. And when I came back, so what he's referring to is when he was driving, I had to make a run. So he got out the car, left and came back. When I came back, we had another conversation about the same thing that we had just talked about. So I don't even think he remembers the conversation that we had earlier. And I said that to him. I'm like, dude, we already talked about this. Like, I already told you it's a childhood friend, which I don't have to explain anything to you. Because
I don't want to hear all that, Ms. Graham. All right. Anything else, Mr. Howard?
Man, the toxicology report from the hospital will let you know I didn't have no alcohol in my system. They would have been able to tell you that. I was not drinking that day. Second of all, I did let the gun go off in my pocket. So I'm gonna take a full accountability for that. But me telling somebody that I was gonna kill them and kill everybody in the house, I didn't say that. When I did, I said something about airing it out. I was on the phone with somebody. I can actually get him to write a sworn statement to tell you that that's the conversation that was happening over the phone. I was telling somebody to come get me to relieve me from even being over there because it was a stressful situation. She'll even tell you that prior to this happening, every morning I would get up and just walk to the park because I knew that we was going to end up having a falling out. We don't even do this. I don't even want to be over there. She knew I didn't want to be over there just as much, and I appreciate her letting me stay over there, but the whole plan was for me to leave. I just want to be able to see my son. Whatever got going on between me and her, I don't need to see her. I'm cool.
I don't trust him because he's tried to take my son before and use him as basically a way to come back over here. He threatened to bring him back.
Mr. Howard, let me ask you a question. Mr. Howard, this is directed at Mr. Howard. Mr. Howard, were you
if there's a third party that can get involved.
Mr. Howard, I want to ask you a question. I want you to answer.
Never. If there's a third party that can pick my son up and drop my son back off at the same location, I'm cool with it.
Mr. Howard, I'm asking you a question.
Yes, ma'am. I hear you.
Your son was not born while y'all haven't been married, right? Okay.
We've never been married.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you a question because I'd really like all gentlemen to do this. Have you legitimated your son, went to court, and had a judge sign an order?
No, I haven't. Because during the time of my son being born, we were in a relationship.
It got along. Okay. So I can tell you this. I can't make Miss Graham let you see y'all's child. Okay. because you haven't legitimated your child and or children. All right. I can't make her do that because you haven't legally legitimated your child. Legitimate your child, different story. Okay. But when there's guns in place and y'all arguing.
Okay, is that in the,
Sir,
can I ask one question right quick?
what's that?
Okay, this temporary restraining order was signed, I guess, on the 14th of January while I was in the hospital. So the temporary order pretty much means that we cannot have any contact with each other. I have not had any contact with her, period. But for whatever reason, she's calling everybody in my family. She's even got in contact with my daughter, a 9-year-old, and told my daughter that I shot myself. Like, this is like, but, and then you telling my family members that you're not intimidated by me, or you're not scared of me, but then you're on this phone call making it seem like you're so scared of me. But this is the stuff that you telling my family. This has happened within the last week or so. So I haven't had any contact. This is the first contact I've had with Ms. Graham since I've been released from jail. I haven't had any contact with her. You're contacting people. You're contacting my barber and telling my barber that I just got released from jail. You're contacting everybody. Like, if this supposed to be a restraining order, you in fear of your life.
I muted you, Mr. Howard, because this is not the platform where y'all are going to argue. Ms. Graham, anything else you want to say that's relevant?
I did call his family because I wanted to know where it was.
I want something relevant. You've got to, if are you in fear of Mr. Howard, Ms. Graham?
Absolutely. I don't know what he'll do.
All right, listen, just yes or no.
Yes.
Then there's no reason to reach out to his family.
To find out where he's at, to make sure he's not coming here?
No, if he's got a protective order, he can't come around you. You don't need to.
So I contacted his dad to tell him to come get his stuff because he had some stuff in the attic upstairs. His dad came and.
Graham, stop contacting his family.
Okay.
He has stuff there. He can reach out to the court and get an exhibit B. We can sign an order for him to come get it. If you don't want contact with him, you don't want contact with him. Mr. Howard, I'm going to put in here that in the event that you legitimate your children or your child, there's two. Are they both yours or just one of them? Just one? All right. Then I'm going to put that judge can make arrangements. Y'all can do whatever, or y'all can work something out because I don't want to keep kids away from whatever, but the kids aren't, there's no decision I can make about the kids. Okay. Take yourself off mute, Mr. Howard, because y'all start arguing. I'm going to mute you both. Go ahead. Take yourself off mute.
It was already discussed, which I am total agreeance with. Like, my sister could come pick my child up. I could see my child. She could drop it back off to the location. I don't have to have any kind of conversation with this person anymore. It's already agreed to on both parties that we are not together. We don't need to be together. It's very toxic. I just want to see my son. That's it. If we can do it that way, I'm cool. She never got to worry about me.
I got you. But Ms. Graham says she won't let you. And I can't order her because you haven't legitimated. So I encourage you, Mr. Howard, if you go seek legitimation, a judge can do something. Right now, since you haven't done that, there's nothing I can do. One, I'll leave it in here that if Ms. Graham at some time decides she wants you to allow you to see your son or y'all's son, then she can modify this, okay? You're on mute again, Mr. Howard. That's what I can do. Ms. Graham, is that what you want me to put in there? I'm not saying you'll change your mind. I'm not saying you have to.
Okay.
And what I'll put in there is if you decide that you'll let him see the child, you'll work it out through his family. How about that?
Okay.
And is there a name or is there a certain family member?
Sonia Jackson.
Is that your sister, sir? Sonia. Sonia Jackson. Okay, so anything about that, the son, you'll contact and it'll go through her. How about that?
Okay.
That's beautiful. That makes it even better.
All right, and Mr. Howard, so Ms. Graham now, no contact, none of that. If y'all can both place your email in the chat, Mr. Howard, if you can do that, there's 3 little dots at the bottom of your screen or somewhere, and you can place your email in the chat from there.
I was thinking about you.